Hi, this is Brian. Thanks for joining me again. I need to buy something to get rid of these circles under my eyes. Looks much better when I got glasses on. Anyway, thanks for joining me. This is part 2 of my story. Luckily, I did have some money in the bank at National City Bank. So somehow I decided I would stay at the Super 8 Motel. I wasn't excited about it, but it was a place to sleep and stay for a night. The motel was about 20 minutes from my mom's house, out on the south end of town, over near other restaurants and motels. The room was on the ground floor and had 2 beds, a nice bathroom, a TV, a phone, and I brought my radio CD player. For a few days, having nothing to occupy my time, I drove to the local park and sit in my car and contemplate. I think only once in a while I would walk a bit to see nature, the ducks, the trees, and the creek. I guess being in the park was calming. It was a huge change from being in an office full of people each day and then having a small room with no internet, no phone, no cell phone, no real people to talk with. I did have TV and my nice radio and CD player. Actually, I didn't watch that much TV back then. Everything in one swipe taken from me, my job, my money, my home, my future, all in one day. I really felt hurt and lost. Why did this happen randomly? And I'll add something here. It's exactly the way the enemy works. So, I had moved into the hotel. Me, a bed, a phone, TV, a newspaper, my radio. Back at the motel, I had some weird experiences. On the TV, there was all these unusual events going on. One that I remember was Heaven's Gate cult suicide, where a group of cult members drank poison believing they'd go to heaven after seeing a comet pass by Earth. That was a weird event you probably only see something once in a lifetime. I just remember seeing all sorts of negative things every time I had the TV on. There were more events that were so unusual, but I don't remember them all. So here's my note: feeling very alone and seeing chaos in the world. So, at this point, I was searching for things to do, things to occupy my time, to take my mind off the predicament. For some reason, I wasn't seeking peace. I wasn't praying. If if I remember right, one day I decided to go shopping, ended up looking around the local Meijer store. I had read Tony Robbins' books before becoming a Christian, and I stumbled onto some of Tony's motivational tapes and bought them. I also bought a new U2 CD album to listen to take up time. I think I was searching for something to grasp onto, to make my mind and emotions, to take my mind and emotions from the loss of my job and rejection from my mom. One day while I was alone in the hotel or motel room, I randomly looked up a Bible verse and thought up a Bible verse and mentioned the heart was deceptively dirty, or was deceptive and dirty. For some reason, I went out and bought a candle. Back at the hotel, I sat in front of the candle and I imagined filth in my heart being cleaned out. I had no scriptural evidence to back verse up, yet I believe I was in a spiritual warfare and that I was being driven to extreme measures. So another weird event. I think this was an attack on the mind and the spirit. Sometime in this period, I was driving around town. My car stalled near the Kokomo Mall. The car occasionally did this, and I had to let it sit for 20 minutes. I walked around to the mall and walked inside the mall. I had walked about 100 feet, and it felt like I got struck by lightning. I could actually see something like in my mind hit me. It felt like a terrible strike to the left half of my head, and it continued down to the side of my body, by my heart, to the midsection of my abdomen. I stumbled, almost fell down, but had no idea what happened. I initially thought it was God's punishment, taking my spirit perhaps, but why I didn't know. I just felt it was spiritual and not a stroke or physical condition. My notes. Whether from God or from the enemy, I suffered this. Why it happened and why God would let this happen at this phase of my life, I don't know. I was feeling very rejected, even physically rejected. I believe this was an attack.